Welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites, to another very interesting episode of Marvel's Avengers 101. So sadly, it has been yet again another rather slow news week relating to the game, but there has been a recent article from IGN discussing a very important aspect of Marvel's Avengers, which of course is the gear. Now, in case you missed it, back during when the Gamescom convention was taking place, I did do a video during that time actually breaking down the info that was provided about the gear system after that convention. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I will leave a link to it in the description so you can go and check it out for yourselves. And alongside of this, we also got confirmation from the developers themselves during the most recent EGX convention that we are going to get a deep dive as to how the customization, gear, skills, and skins are all going to operate within the game in the next few months. Now, whether or not this means that we're actually going to receive more information about all these aspects of the game within the end of this year of 2019 or the beginning of next year in 2020, we're still gonna have to wait and see. However, for me personally, I do believe it would be more beneficial if we were to receive this info sooner rather than later, considering that there are quite a few individuals who are slowly losing hype for this game. And the sooner that we actually end up receiving a video of all these gameplay elements and action instead of just reading about them in numerous articles, I definitely think that's going to bring a lot more excitement back to this game overall. But regardless, this article does do a really good job of recapping what we do know about the gear system already as to what was stated from the developers themselves. For example, just like how other RPGs have handled it in the past, there are going to be different rarities for each of these gear pieces that you do acquire within the game. This could either range from common, uncommon, epic, rare, legendary, and even further of larger than legendary. And as you should expect from these type of RPG games similar to that of Destiny or Anthem, the better the rarity the gear is, the more effective it's actually going to be during gameplay. And not only will the gear pieces actually increase your stats for the character, like that of strength, defense, and speed, as well as the recharge time for your heroic abilities, but each gear piece could also come beneficially equipped with perks which will enhance your character's combat abilities even more. And depending on the type of rarity your gear piece is, it could actually be able to hold more than one perk if you are so inclined to. Now, while that's all fine and dandy as to how the gear is going to work for each character within the game, we do have a bit more details relating to how it's going to operate, with the confirmation from one of the main producers that the gear will not change your character's appearance. And to quote the article itself, it states, "Gear is part of or underneath your suit, but the visuals are separate," reveals senior producer Rose Hunt. "We thought players would rather have the visuals that we're pulling from the comic books or the original suits that we're making up, rather than have a bunch of attachments on the outside of it making them look not as cool." While that makes sense, a big part of the feeling of progression in loot-based games is due to you being able to see cool new gear in your hands or on your character. While this won't happen in Marvel's Avengers, Crystal Dynamics has made sure new gear is more than just an invisible stat boost. When you scale up or when you level up gear, there's definitely going to be some different visuals for VFX, says Hunt. Generally, it's going to feel like a celebration. It's also going to have probably some different animations at different times. And from what the author theorizes as to what this means within the article itself, he states, "It seems then that changing Iron Man's arc reactor may produce a different looking beam for his heroic ability, which is almost as notable a change as a new gun. In fact, sounds closer to Anthem's customization, which was less flashy than Destiny's." Now, while the producer herself confirmed directly that the gear pieces will not change the overall appearance of your character, it makes me question what this was that was shown off then during New York Comic Con. It was clearly shown off that each of these heroes will be able to obtain a certain set of gear, which will then allow them to have even more powerful attacks and stat boosts tailored to their character. And seeing that this is clearly the Stark Industries gear set, which is going to be equipped for every character on the main Avengers team and possibly other characters that will be revealed down the line, it still leaves me a bit confused as to how the final gear system is going to fully operate once the final game is shipping. Plus, seeing that the main author did make a direct comparison to Anthem's customization system, I really do hope that Marvel's Avengers can go above and beyond my current expectations and try and make something truly unique that we've never seen before. Still, the fact that people keep directly comparing this game to other titles like Destiny and Anthem doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence in the game as of right now. But moving on with the article itself, it goes on to state, similar to other gear-focused games, Marvel's Avengers also supports gear sets. You can get very specific gear sets, like an entire Stark Industries gear set, says Scott Amos, who's the head of Crystal Dynamics. You can get special perks and bonuses that you can only get by having that matching set. While Crystal Dynamics has yet to explain just how you can earn gear, are they purely mission rewards or can they be found in the world? Well, luckily for us, Hunt clarifies that characters can earn gear for any hero, not just themselves. If you play a Black Widow mission, you're gonna have opportunities to get gear for any of your characters, she says. It's important to note that there's not overlapping with gear. Gear is unique per hero, says Amos, so as you go find gear as Tony, you also have to go find gear as Widow, and go find gear as Hulk. Hopefully the system has a bias towards the character you're playing as, but Crystal Dynamics is unwilling to share more details on how it works at this time. So again, if you're unaware as to what exactly Marvel's Avengers it's going to be, it's essentially a fully AAA action-adventure RPG with elements of a looter-shooter. And based on that description alone, it definitely seems like the process for obtaining gear is going to be that of trying to grind for the best sets that you want for your specific character. And knowing that one of the statements for this game is that players will be able to play it for years to come, I can definitely see that being one of the reasons as to why that is. Now, to finalize the article, as for the explanation as to why the gear pieces do not change your cosmetic appearance for the character, is a statement from Scott Amos and the main author. And as the article states, as previously mentioned, all this gear is technically invisible, so as not to interfere with the look of your hero. Outfits are only cosmetic, so they do not limit how you can gear up or skill up your heroes, says Amos. We've separated that so you can look the way you want to look and you can play the way you want to play. Amos offered a little extra detail on how the game deals with costumes, and it's here that microtransactions will play a part. Outfits are split into earnable, let's just play the game and accomplish objectives and missions, and ones you can only purchase in the marketplace. And there's no crossover there. So it's one of those things that you can only buy some of them or you can only earn some of them. Crystal Dynamics promises to talk more about gear soon, which is when we'll hopefully learn more about all those important things like gear score and stat bonuses. Now, I hate to say this, but after reading that article, it does make me a little bit more hesitant to how the game is going to finalize itself once it's fully released. This doesn't sound any different from any of the previous looter shooters that have released in the past, but I'm still hoping that they could try and innovate the game, given that they are dealing with some of the most important characters in comic book history. So if it turns out that the final product of the Avengers project becomes another random looter shooter with simple microtransactions, which will be up the ante for several people who do want to try and wear those cosmetics, then I will be severely disappointed. And if it turns out that they decide to hide some of the more popular costumes that they know people will pay money for, like that of the MCU suits, behind a microtransaction paywall, then I will be extremely disappointed with the final product. But in the end, I'm still just crossing my fingers and hoping for the absolute best that the game will definitely try and deliver a once-in-a-lifetime Avengers experience to all the hardcore Marvel fans who are really interested within this game. But until that time comes, everyone, that's the video I have for you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about all this news relating to how the gear system is going to operate within Marvel's Avengers, and does this make you even more or less excited for the game overall? Seeing that we're most likely going to have to grind for all the best types of gear within the game itself, I really do hope that they can make it fun for all the players who will be interacting within this world. But until next time, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, stay merry Marvelites, and peace out.
Lab's all set up, boss.
Oh, actually, he's the boss. I just pay for everything and design everything and make everyone look cooler.